Hi everybody and welcome to the Wild Ginger Running YouTube channel live broadcast and podcast. I'm your host Claire Maxted and this is my Year of the Dragon with my Dragon's Back Race SKT, the slowest known time, plan to complete this epic 6-day route over 6 separate weekends, sponsored by Harrier Trail and Ultra Running Gear. So who better to interview than commentator on last year's race and herself, 4th placed female and first in her age group in the 2019 Dragon's Back race. It's Wales's finest TV presenter and BAFTA-award-winning broadcaster. It's Lowri Morgan, everyone.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much, Claire, for that very kind introduction.
Amazing. Well, croeso, Lowri, and shwd I chi?
Dwi'n iawn, diolch yn fawr iawn. Diolch yn fawr iawn am y croeso. Thank you very much for the warm welcome, and it's great to catch up with you again, Claire.
Amazing. So that completes my level of Welsh, by the way, everybody. Basically, I said welcome to Lowri, and how are you? And she said that she is fine and very good, I think.
Yes, I did.
Iawn, diolch. I heard a bit in there.
I'm really impressed that you're learning Welsh. So I'm a massive thank you for doing it.
It's a joy. Yeah. I'm really enjoying learning the Welsh actually, because I'm planning to, in my 6 videos, do what I've been inspired by you doing that commentary on the Dragon's Back race, where you seamlessly integrated a little bit of Welsh, starting in Welsh and then moving to English. And I just thought that was wonderful. So obviously I can't do it that much, but I plan to do a little bit of that during my film. So so we've started well. But I'm really super pleased to chat with you, because when I last saw you, it was at the Ultra Trail Snowdonia UTS in 2023, so 2 years ago, and your surgeon had just told you that you were not to run any more technical trails after having, okay, let's get the tick list right, full ACL, an MCL, and meniscus tears in your knee.
Yes.
And now I see on Instagram that you signed up for UTS 100k. And apparently you're fine. Have you got 2 new knees? What's going on now?
Well, as you must probably know, I've got my right knee. I had an accident when I was 18 years old. So I was told I wouldn't be able to run properly then. So the second time in my life, so in my right knee, I've got plates and screws and everything, and I haven't got full extension of that leg. And then, in 2023, I was ski touring. I fell right at the end, at the easiest part of the day, typical. And I completely tore my ACL. I had a really bad MCL tear, did my meniscus. I was... typical me, I was willing to walk down the mountain, but yeah, I tried and I just couldn't do it. So I had to be ushered off the mountain. And then it took me a year to come back. And they told me then I wouldn't be able to trail around because obviously I haven't got the ACL there to control. So I did a lot of cycling. Came back, did one of the run, walk, crawl events, which was about, I'd say, a year after. And to my surprise, I came 4th overall in that won my the female race. And then because I was 50 a few days after, I decided it was a 50k race, so I decided to run the 18 miles back on the race course to just do 50 miles in celebration of my 50th year. And then I was so chuffed because I really enjoyed it. It wasn't about the competition. It was just the gratitude for being back doing something that I love. And then I woke up the following day and I thought, I feel good. My knee, survived all the mud and the slipping and everything. I'm really chuffed. I'll go out over the Banau Brycheiniog on the mountain bike, which I did with my friend, because I had a 1,000-kilometer ultra bike race coming up. And I fell off the bike and I fractured my shoulder.
Oh, no.
I dislocated my shoulder. I was stuck on the mountain for about 3 hours. And I think that's been the hardest thing to come back from.
Oh, no.
That was really painful. And because it was out for so long, the nerves have been damaged.
Oh, no. So you actually dislocated it. Oh.
Yeah, so I've got, to answer your question, I've got 2 dodgy knees, a dodgy shoulder, and I've only got one good one.
Oh, so you've only got one good arm.
Yeah. So but you know what? It's really weird. I feel empowered. I feel I'm 51 going into the UTS. And I'm like, come on, bring it on. You know, what else can be thrown at me now? And I'm just really enjoying the process. You know, it hasn't been great. I've cried. I've been in my pity party for a very long time. But I think there's one thing that I look back to, that accident when I was 18 years old. I was told, I was in the hospital then, I had knee reconstruction and everything. I left in a wheelchair, was on crutches for months and months. And I just think, well, do you know what? I came back the first time, I can come back again. And it's all about, you know, it's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? You know, small steps. It's a marathon, not a sprint, but which is certainly true for me. But now that I'm 51, I'm kind of running really, for me, you know, I'm still running. I've gone back to running road a lot more because I didn't have the confidence to run on the trails with my knees and my shoulder. So, you know, I'm back running 1830, 1840, 5Ks. I'm really happy about that.
That's amazing.
Well, I'm really chuffed with it. But the only thing is, I don't know whether I've got the endurance anymore, the muscle endurance to cope with the 100K and the 7,500 meters of climbing. But, you know, if I don't try,
you'll never know.
I won't find out.
Yeah.
You know, so I worked on it, as you mentioned before. I've never raced it, so let's see. You know, I might not finish it. I might come in. I might not make the cut-offs, but I'm just going to go and have a blast. I'm going to go and enjoy it, and just be really grateful that I'm doing it with all the injuries I've had, but also at my age, I never thought I'd be able to do it. So yeah, I'm a bit of a plodder, and I'm not ashamed of saying it.
Oh, well, the live chats are coming in. Christian Polton says, oh, wow, Lowri, you're amazing. Nothing will stop you.
I'm sure there are a few things that stop me, but at the moment, I'm I'm enjoying the process. I get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, and
Is that every morning?
Yeah, most mornings. I think I have a lie-in on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But I am, and the irony of it all, I am absolutely not a morning person.
Really?
When I'm racing, I come alive during the night.
That's handy.
Even at home, that's when I'm really, really full of energy. It's the mornings that I really lack the energy. But my other running buddies are morning people.
Yeah.
So they're my accountability buddies. So, you know, I was up this morning at 5 just running.
Yeah. And is that so that you could also fit it in with your family? Because you've got he's quite a young son. How old will he be now? If he was 4 in 2019,
10 now.
He's 10.
Yeah, he's 10.
Yeah. So is he still asleep then, presumably? And you just come back, and he's just waking up.
Exactly. So I come back in time for when he wakes up, and then it's straight into school. And with my job as a broadcaster as well, and I'm freelance, I never know what 1 week looks like. And I work in sport as well, so weekends tend to be wrapped up in, you know, for example, this weekend we've got the Newport marathon, and we've got a conference the day before, so I'm involved with that. So I need to try and fit all my training around, and I'm self-coaching at the moment because I've had amazing coaches over the years, but I just feel I'm just their nightmare really, because 1 week is never the same. So the way I try to fit it in is I do a lot of double days. I've also found as I've got older that I need 2 days off in a week.
Okay.
Whilst before I was doing 6 days.
Yeah.
But I need those 2 days now, but I might fill those other 5 days with double days just to try and get the
morning
training.
And then this in the evening as well.
Yes.
And so what time do you go to bed then to get up at 5 every morning? Are you like in bed by 8 p.m?
No, I tend to go to bed. I take William to bed, and then I do tend to go to bed around the 10 o'clock time.
Yeah.
But what I'm a big fan of, and I think this is a lesson that I've learned through my multi-stage racing, especially the non-stop multi-stage racing, is the power of napping.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big napper. I know I can sleep in racing. I know I can sleep on a minute or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
A minute would be if I'm on a mountain and I need to get off the mountain and I'm just not getting anywhere. It'll keep me going until sunrise or something, and then 5 minutes I find is a good time, or 10 minutes even is a lie-in. But I've tried to adopt that into my normal life as well.
So you're always adventure racing.
Yeah, I'm always. And so, for example, today now I've been working, so I came in from the run and sorted out my son, and then I went to work, and I came back, and I just had 20-minute nap.
Yeah.
And that'll sustain me then until everything else is done, and then I fit everything round. So I do find if I get up at 6, I can make it through the day. But if I get up at 5, I know I need that catch up, because and as well as a presenter as well, I've noticed when I'm tired, my brain just goes really fuzzy, and I can't.
Yeah, I've had that before.
And, I
just can't think as quickly. Yeah, you need that.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Yeah. So especially if I'm on live television, I need to be quite quick, in listening and thinking about the next question or the next link.
Yes, yeah, you need to be pre-napped. Yeah.
Yes, so I'm a big fan of napping.
Yeah, and so I'm interested in how you stay motivated for that getting up at 5 a.m. and for that training, because I've read your book, obviously, a fantastic book. I'll link to it below.
Do you know what? I only thought my mother and father would buy the book, so thank you very much.
No, I got sent it by your publicist, so yeah, and I'm sure I gave it away in a giveaway all that time ago.
Yes, you did. Yes, I remember. Yeah.
So I've read your book, and it just seems to be a theme through your life that you're very determined about everything, and if you're going to do it, you're going to do it blimmin' well. And I like that. I think that's brilliant, and I find it very inspirational. Like already, just having talked to you and hearing you say, "I'm not a morning person, but I'm getting up at 5 a.m." I am inspired now to try to get up at 5 a.m. A couple of mornings a week. It's very Jasmine Paris, isn't it?
Because I went to a school, a girls' school last week, and I was talking to them about the lessons that I've learnt as a runner, and I was telling them all about I'm somebody who gets really nervous. I was training to become a singer. That's what I wanted to do, but I struggled so much with stage fright. I gave singing up. With hindsight, I think I'd go back to my younger self and say, don't give up singing. You're a good singer. It's the nerves that you need to address. Yeah. But of course, that you don't see it like that. But now I'm still really nervous. I get really nervous before going on live television, before doing the Lynx and Dragons back, for example. And my mind is always going, right, what am I going to say? I still suffer with imposter syndrome. I still have anxiety.
But you're still just doing it. You just get on. You're like, I'm doing it, and that's not going to stop me. I think other people have those thoughts, and then they go, so that means I shouldn't do it. Whereas you're having those thoughts, and then you're going, but anyway, let's just carry on.
Exactly. And I think if I didn't, for example, I'm doing the UTS, and to say that I'm confident would not be true, because, I'm going to go there full of fear. But then I'm not letting that fear stop me from going after it, because if I am fearful, I think that it shows to me that whatever I'm chasing is worth the chase. Yeah. So I've found if I'm on live television, and there are many parallels, for example, between going on live television, my heart rate goes up to the nearly the same rate as it is when I'm running in my zone 2 run. But I've learned to embrace it and think, do you know what, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, and find it exciting rather than stressful. Yeah.
Exactly. And I've not allowed it now to stop me from going. I keep reminding myself of that time when I gave up singing because I couldn't control the nerves. And I don't regret giving up singing, because I've had this wonderful adventure over the years.
Oh, you're very welcome to sing a song for us today.
Do you know what? Unfortunately, I do sing in choirs now that I've got slightly more time, and now that Gwilym is slightly older. And but I've got my nodules. That's my excuse. I've got damaged nodules by now. Oh no! Talking too much.
Oh no! How does that bode for me then? I thought way too much. So you are training for UTS 100K with nearly like 7,000 meters of ascent, and you're getting up at 5 and you're running with your buddies. How does that training differ for how you trained for the Dragon's Back in 2019? Because in this chat, I promised people, first-time Dragon's Backers, that they might get some tips from you. So is it very much different? I remember you did say something about you used to run reps up Snowdon for your early ultra races. You also got trained by Damien Hall for the 2019 Dragon's Back. You said that without a coach, you would have maybe overtrained or not felt confident to be on the start line. But now you've moved to self-coaching. Yeah, did you do like more of one thing for Dragon's Back and now you're doing more of a different thing for UTS 100K, or is it sort of similar?
Not really. It's very similar.
Yeah.
You know, I coach people for Dragon's Back now, and and everybody's different.
Yeah.
So one training schedule might be different to another person's training schedule based on their maybe history, their confidence on the trails, their ability to get to the mountains. So, for example, I'm in Cardiff. We're not known for being the hilliest and most mountainous area in Wales. But when I was training for Dragon's Back, my son was in hospital. I don't know if you remember saying that he was unfortunately in a quite a serious accident, and he was in hospital quite a bit. Yeah. So I was training for the PTL actually, and Dragon's Back. And I found the only time I could go running was when he was sleeping.
Yeah. In the hospital?
In the hospital, or when he came back home then. Yeah. So luckily I've got an amazing family to help me do these things, and that is just accepted and much appreciated. So I would go to, for example, Pen y Fan, and I would run back at 9 o'clock, say, run maybe a long run, 60 miler. I didn't race a lot. I couldn't race because my work on the weekends, but also Gwilym being there for him. So I would run with friends from Pen y Fan down to Cardiff, which would normally be about 60 miles overnight. And I would turn up and take Gwilym to school, still in my muddy gear,
Wow. Having run through the night and no sleep whatsoever.
Having run through a night, no sleep, yeah. And then I would have my
dedicated to the cause.
Well, you were saying about me being motivated, and funnily enough, I was thinking this morning. I'm not the most motivated of people, but I have learned, and I've learned so many lessons. I've learned and I've made mistakes as well, and I think that's where I'm a lot more chilled about my training now. Yeah. I have learned that. Sorry, I digress a lot when I'm running and talking as well. But I forgot what I was saying then.
I think you were saying that you ran through the night and you were doing lots of training while Gwilym was asleep.
Yeah, sleep.
And so that's different maybe this time. You're not doing training through the night.
I'm not doing that. But I think with what I've learned is that I don't necessarily need to, I might regret saying this, but for the really, really long runs now, I think that's a lot to do with mental preparation. And as I was saying, I'm coaching people, and if they are new to Dragon's Back race, for example, I will tell them, look, it's time on feet, and you mentally have to prepare yourself for being on your feet for 10 plus hours a day. But if somebody comes to me and says, I've done a few multi-stage races and I want to do the Dragon's Back, I would say, well, you already have that mental strength. You know how it is to run through a wall. For example, if you're running through in a marathon, everybody's different, of course. But if somebody's got a good platform underneath them and they're going into their first marathon, I would say, maybe try and go 21, 22 miles because you need to get used to hitting that wall, because mentally that's a big challenge in itself. Obviously, that's not true for everybody. Some people go much less. Some runners go over the 25, 26 miles. It all depends. And I think with ultra running, I don't think I've run more than six hours for the Dragon's Back, nor for this. So the training has been quite similar. what has been good, I think, this time in this block for me is the consistency.
Okay.
And that's one thing I would tell a newbie Dragon's back runner is it doesn't matter. Yes, of course you do need to do time on feet and things, but try and be consistent with your training. Try and get your legs used to getting up the following day with heavy legs and going out running.
Yeah.
The example that I can tell you now is, for example, I've done the Dragon's Back race. I've raced it, so I know how it feels. But I've also, as you said at the start, I've also presented from them. So for example, when I'm on top of Knecht, I see all the runners. You're talking about the elite runners and the fun runners all coming up, and everybody's
fun.
type 2 fun. All in second gear, it's the first climb of the day, and it's quite a brutal climb to start with, and you're like, you're in the gear. If you think about it in a car, you're second gear, you're trying to get to third, and then you do notice the ones who have consistency in their legs, when they get to the top of Knecht, then they can go into third, fourth, fifth, and quite smoothly, and then they can recover quickly and carry on. I think the ones who haven't got the consistency in their legs, by the time they've got to Knecht, they need to stop and get a breather, and you can kind of see the ones who have conditioned for the trails and the ones who haven't. So if I have one piece of advice for dragon back runners is get consistency in your legs.
Yeah. So whether that's going out like 4 times a week or 5 times a week, just keep going, do your like a few hours here and there, just keep doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. And even if you say, oh, do you know, I've only got 20 minutes, there's no point going out, just do the 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's worth it. And I think that's what I've learned over the years with being a mother and trying to fit it in between everything. Sometimes you think, oh, there's no point running 30 minutes when you're training for 100k or whatever, but it does matter.
Oh, that's really interesting. So I will be more motivated now to do 30 minutes if I've just got 30 minutes. And also we have Shazne999 saying the highlight of the Dragon's Back video coverage is listening to Lowri.
Oh, thank you, that's really kind. It is nice to hear the feedback, and do you know what? I really love working on it. I've been really fortunate to have worked on world championships in motorsport. I've travelled the world with different athletic meetings and rugby big championships. But I just love the Dragon's Back. I absolutely love it. And, I'm working with more races now, commentating with them. I've got a couple of exciting projects coming up this year. And do you know what? The reason I love running is not just about the racing itself, but the stories that come out, the inspirational stories that I get to hear, and the incredible people that I get to meet, and I absolutely love it. So it's really nice to get feedback, hearing that people actually do enjoy watching it.
Yeah, people enjoy the wonderful Welsh commentary intertwined with the English commentary. I had a question that I was going to ask you about the best thing about the Dragon's Back, but it appears that you've answered that. It's the camaraderie.
I have remembered, what I was going to say earlier, if you don't mind. And this is how my brain works, and I'm sure many runners would be able to understand where I'm coming from. I don't know if you're running and your brain just goes from one thing to another.
My brain is like that anyway.
But you were saying, you must be really motivated, and I don't think I am. But
it's not what it looks like from the outside world. You look terrifically, remarkably motivated to me, I think. But then people think that of me as well, and I think I'm really lazy.
But I don't know if you'd agree with me. I think motivation sometimes comes. You just have to drag yourself out of the house, and you're not motivated at all. And then you think, do you know what? If I run 10 minutes out, and if I run, then it means I've got 10 minutes back, so that's 20 minutes. And then normally the motivation comes then. You reach 10 minutes, and you think, I might do a couple more minutes. And then my bit that's where the motivation tends to come in, is around the 3 miles, 5 miles. That's where motivation kicks in for me. So I'm not always motivated. In the morning, I always tell myself, what do I want now and what do I want most? And what I want now is normally, you know, being in my bed with my beautiful duvet. But what I want most is to cross that finish line of the UTS. And that tends to be the kick that I need to get out of bed and do it. And also when you have that accountability buddy and a small group of buddies waiting for you, you don't want to let them down. It's like having a coach as well. You know, the people I coach, they're always like, you know, I need that accountability.
Yes. Yeah,
and
it really does make a difference.
Yeah, and sorry, I'm on a bit of a roll here, but there's
it's all very useful information.
One of my running buddies now, I was worrying about motivation and getting out and fitting it in around having just had Gwilym. And I was in a race and I bumped in Coed y Brenin, which I'm sure many people are aware of, up in North Wales. And we raced together, got talking on the finish line. And she said, I'm from Cardiff. I said, oh, so am I. And she said, do you fancy running together? And I said, yeah, that's good. That's 10 years ago. Aww. You know, we're still running buddies. We still get up 5 a.m. We've raced numerous thousands of miles together around the world. And it's just sometimes, and I'm speaking at a conference tomorrow, and that's the thing I'm going to tell these female runners. It's all about just sometimes take the initiative to say hello to somebody, because they could become your accountability buddy.
Yeah. So get some running friends. So this is the key to starting at 5 a.m. is to get some good buddies. And we've got a couple of live questions. We've got Shazny999 wants to says, who would Lowri like to see come and take on the Dragon's Back race? Like, is there anyone that you would like to report on particularly to come over and do it?
No, I'm not even going to. I'm sorry, Shazzy, I'm not going to answer that, because I tell you what, I could give you some obvious names who are, you know, world leaders and the world's best ultra runners. But there are a couple of friends that I know who I would love to see tackling the Dragon's Back race, but don't have the confidence. And I keep telling them, you can do it. Mm-hmm. You know, you can. If you really want to do it, you can do it. And I went into the Dragon's Back race with a meniscus tear, and that's another injury I've not spoken about. But so I went in, and I wasn't too sure whether to race it with a meniscus tear. But my surgeon at the time said, "Well, look, just do it. You can't make the tear any worse than what it is. So if you can control the pain, and pain management is good with you, then just enjoy it." And I went and did the Dragon's Back. I had no expectations. I couldn't run downhill because of the torn meniscus. Mm-hmm. But my goodness, I enjoyed it. Yeah. I loved it. Yeah. You know?
That was fantastic. And somebody else who loved it is Christian, who said it was definitely the camaraderie that made the Dragon's Back a special race for me. He managed to complete it.
Congratulations,
this year
Christian.
So he probably ran past you at one point.
Yeah, I most probably know him. I've most probably chatted. I tried to chat to everybody there. They and I'm sure some of them say, "Oh, she's coming. The Welshers coming. Just hide."
Oh no! If I was there, I would love to chat. And so you talked a bit there about not being able to run down the hills. Like, what's the terrain generally like on the Dragon's Back for somebody maybe who's like coming from overseas and can't do any recce's or anything like that? Yeah. Like, how would you describe that terrain and then?
Oh gosh, a real mixture.
How does one train for that?
I know you've obviously got the more technical stages of it, the first 2 days. The first 2 days suited me with that tear, because you can't really run down a mountain, because again those are technical trails in a way. I remember my knee started to hurt on the 3rd day, hence when you could start running a bit more, which is around coming off Cadair Idris, and that's a long day, more runnable trails. And then of course you've got the Banau Brycheiniog, which is more tysychu, if that's a term, and you know, more muddy, more cross country esque, still a couple of technical trails, but nothing compared to the first 2 days. And then the last day is pretty much the Taff Trail, but don't let the trail make you think it's an actual trail. It's a concrete, long 50-mile stretch back to Cardiff.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, with a couple of going off the trail and going off beat in a way, but it's got something for everybody. But yeah, the 2 days at Berari tend to be very technical. Then you've got the coming off Cadair Idris and coming down the Cambrian, coming down the Rhinogydd is can be quite technical in places, but wonderful. Then you've got the Dyffryn Elan, which is Elan Valley, which is absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. And that's a mixture of road and more runnable hills rather than mountains. Absolutely stunning. And then you go into Banau Brycheiniog and obviously into Cardiff, finishing in the castle there.
Yeah, it just sounds so amazing. Whenever I think about it, I just want to do it. And do you think it's a big advantage living in Wales then? Because you can go and recce, or like you've got the terrain there. Is it possible to train for the Dragon's Back race not living in Wales? Well, obviously it is.
Yes,
Christian did
yes.
it.
I didn't do any recceing for Dragon's Back because my son was in hospital, so I didn't want to go too far. So a lot of my training was on one mountain in Cardiff, which is 400 meters. So and for example, we've done it this morning. We've just gone up this mountain and we've just gone up it in different ways. There are different climbs up the Garth, so we just go up and down that, and it is a bit boring, but sometimes boring is good. You just chat, you know what you're doing, and you get the elevation in, and that's what I did. I used to spend 3 hours on this one hill. I think it just about makes it a mountain. But you don't have to go. I know, for example, when I was racing it, I struggled, as numerous runners do, and that's another piece of advice I would say. Train with the food you're going to do and the fluids you're going to use, because I did a bit of a schoolgirl error where I didn't train with a certain drink, and it didn't. I liked it on a one-day event. But by the third day of running with this drink, my stomach just didn't like it. And I paired up with another runner, and he was purely there for the adventure. He hadn't recceed it either. He didn't care what time he was coming in. He just wanted to make the cut-off, while I was like, I want to come in early because I want the extra time to recover. That was my thought process, and we kind of found a happy medium between us on the third day, because I was struggling, and he turned around and said, oh yeah, I quite enjoy pushing myself, and getting a little bit into base a bit faster, so I had that extra time to recover. So you can buddy up on the race as well. So you don't have to recce, obviously. Like, you've proved that that's not necessary, and Christian, who's one of my patrons, he's proved that as well. So, like, if you can recce one day, like navigation-wise, which one is the most sort of tricky that you would say, actually, if you have got one day to recce, then I would do this one? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that's a really good question, because I would say obviously all of them.
All of them.
I will give you an example. There was one SAS runner running. Numerous have, but this particular runner, I was following his track when he was running through Brecon Beacons, Banau Brycheiniog. It was incredible to see the minutes he was shaving off here and there with his lines.
Really?
Yeah, it was incredible. He knew, obviously that's where they train, and he just knew. And they weren't massive deviations. They were just little cuts here and there, and he just jumped up the ladder by doing little things like that. When I ran, the course has changed by now. The big change I did, I ran around the Rhinogydd.
Yeah.
I still made the checkpoint,
Yeah.
obviously,
So you didn't go
but I
through.
ran a more flatter, longer route to the checkpoints, which ended up saving me a lot of time. And that was, but now the race now follows a lot of that line by now, so I can't advise that. But the one thing I would do is, if you are recceing it, I think a mistake that a lot of people tend to do, they kind of do the recce to see how quickly they can do it, just to give them the confidence.
Yeah.
But I would say, and this is why I say it, it's from learning as a film crew rather than a runner how to do a recce. Because when sometimes I've walked up a mountain to get to see the runners, I've stopped a little bit more, I've taken my time, and I've looked back at the route I've walked, and I thought, oh, hang on, there's another faster line up there. And you learn a lot more by going slowly. You know, that's one of the lessons in ultras. Sometimes you've got to go slow to go fast. So on the recce's, you know, take your time. If you go up a mountain, just look down at the path and think, oh, do you know what? Actually, there's a straighter line there. And that's another piece of advice I would tell somebody who is going to recce. There are loads of places to find little cuts and corners, and sometimes they're just cuts and corners, and it might shave off a minute here and there, but when you add it up over the course of the Dragon's Back, it does make a difference. Even if it's like, I remember running on one of the mountains, and a friend of mine was running 10 meters alongside me, a bit lower down on the camber of the mountain, and you could see he just had a better line, and he just, you know, flew past me. And while I was more struggling, you know, to get my footing and on a higher part of the mountain. So just little things like that make such a difference.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. And what did you use for navigation? Did you have like OS map app on your phone, or did you have one of them whizzy watches, or did you just use the paper map?
Well, I had my Sunto, which I used. I'm not the greatest of navigators, I admit that, even though with everything I've done, I should be better. I had an OS map, I had the race map with me, and then I also had my phone on me. So I had three things in emergencies, and but what I did notice with the proper goats who were racing, they were just incredible. They could just get the map out and just read it, and just they could pick the line better because they were looking up a lot more, while the ones using the watch, you know, you're following the watch, you're not actually looking at the best line to take. There's a good if you want a shortcut, the Knecht. There's a nice little cut off the top of Knecht, which cuts off quite a challenging route down the mountain. So that's something. That's a tip. Going back to the question you asked earlier.
A little tip there. Thank you for that. These are gold nuggets that you're giving out here. And just going back to you mentioned that you know you'd got this drink that you could have for a day that then you didn't really like it for like 3 days in one go. What snacks did you take on the Dragon's Back race, and will you be taking similar things with you on the 100k?
Well, that's a really good question, because that's one of the things that's going through my mind now. I think as I've become older, my stomach has become more sensitive, so I have to be really careful about what I'm taking. And I think after having Gwilym, I really struggled I did a mistake. I was back racing quite soon after having him, so I still had low iron levels. And I think I took some painkillers without having enough in my stomach. So I ended up tearing my stomach by taking Brufen without lining the stomach enough. And I've never been the same since. So I have to be really careful. So I have to practice with the fueling system that I'll use in the UTS. Another mistake I learned, I love brioches. That's an example, something I used to eat quite a lot. But by the third day of the Dragon's Back, it was the last thing I wanted to see. So, and I don't think I've eaten a brioche since then. So I think the tip is to mix and match and just kind of think, well,
variety.
just because you like brioches, your stomach might not like it after 3 days. And the third day tends to be the day when you see people really struggling with their stomachs and getting tired, and maybe the people who are conditioned best for the mountains are the ones you tend to see not struggling after the third day.
Yeah.
So
it's hard
so
to
what
know
I
what
tend
to take, isn't it? Because
I
you've got
know
to pack for the whole week and you don't have a fridge. So you can't just be like making a tuna sandwich or anything like that. And also the race is vegan as well. So it's good to try and be a little bit along those lines.
Yeah.
To sort of...
Well, what I did was I would freeze sandwiches and I would put them into an airtight kind of plastic bag, as they do in the butchers with meat, you know, is it airtight bags where they suck all the air out?
Yeah.
And then I would freeze them, and then I would take those. So by maybe the third day, that sandwich would have kind of, you know, obviously you have to be aware of what you're putting into that sandwich.
Maybe cheese.
But but you know, like, you'd be amazed, some cheap bread, cheap cheese, they can last a long time, you know, which isn't nice to think of, but when you're ultra running, you know, it works. What I tend to do as well now, I tend to eat the food that I'm going to use. I tend to get my stomach used to eating it before doing the race itself as well. And for example, with the fueling, with the fuel drinks, I tend to drink those as well. So at least my body tends to get used to it. It's not a shock then when I start racing.
Yeah, and so this is when you're doing your training at 5:30 in the morning. You're drinking the same thing. You're eating, because like I would struggle to feel hungry at that kind of time in the morning, I think.
Yeah, I really struggle to eat at that time, so it is quite a struggle to get food inside me. I do make sure that I get a late, heavier supper the night before, and then I just try and just experiment with a different food system I'm going to use for a race. So I do try to do that, even if it's a 2-hour run. I try just to take some stuff just to get the body used to using it.
Yeah. And how do you, like, because obviously this is about race nutrition, what you're eating while you're training. How do you fuel yourself other times? Because I really struggle with, like, getting time to, A, like, look through a recipe book, B, go and buy all the stuff for the recipe, C, actually chop it all up in time for 6 p.m. to eat some food. Because we get finished work at 5:30 and then it's like, what can we have? Fish fingers, baked beans and sweet corn. So, like, are you a Wonder Woman in the kitchen as well? Or do you have a very supportive partner?
Everything. I'm absolutely, it's a running joke between family and friends. I am absolutely awful in the kitchen. I tell you, I am an ambassador for them. I have for a few years been using currants. And I wouldn't be an ambassador if I didn't believe in the stuff. I'm quite strict about who I talk about. And pardon?
Quite strict about who you ambassadise.
Ambassadise,
it's
yes.
a new word.
And it's a new word. I like it. And I really feel that has helped me. And when I was injured, you know, I got in touch with them and I said, look, you know, I'm injured and I'm not going to be able to use your stuff. And they said, no, keep using it. So I actually used it during my recovery as well. And I did find it helped.
Yeah.
So what I tend to do, I tend to take the currants before I go training.
Yeah.
I tend to drink a little bit of fructose before going. I couldn't take it for a while, but I've been taking a little bit to get the stomach used to it before pre-running, pre-racing. And then when I come back, I tend to do an old-fashioned thing of just getting some milkshake inside me because when I walk in, I'm rubbish on Instagram because I don't have time to take a photo or anything like that.
No.
So I tend to walk into the door and then I literally forget, you know, I'm straight into mum mode then. So the one thing I do is a chocolate milkshake, so I try to get the fluid in and some carbs and protein in and stuff like that. And I'm quite a simple person when it comes to food because I'm not a cook. I just see food as fueling. I'm you know, I just, jack potato, meat, protein, vegetables, and that's how I eat. And I don't have time to cook. It's not my passion. I know I've got friends who are amazing cooks and love spending time making the food, and I love eating them, But for me, I tend to be quite simple and boring with what I eat.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, that's good to know. Yeah. Not everything it has to be 100% perfection.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you some things in Welsh in a minute, just to finish off. But I was just reading your Instagram lately, and I was just wondering how important it is to you to show what you are capable of.
Gosh, I when it comes to social media, I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah, me too.
I have, when as a broadcaster, you can do a program, and you'll have 9 people saying how much they enjoyed it, and you'll have one person saying that you're a rubbish presenter, and then you would think about that one negative message, and sometimes it would really affect my work, because it would affect my confidence. I don't like that side of things. I also sometimes don't like, I feel sometimes, why does somebody want to hear my story? Why does somebody want to hear about my anxiety or how good my day has gone? So I'm not great with putting it out there, but then I do get really nice, encouraging, and I've had one this morning from somebody saying, oh, look, I've been out this morning. I just thought, let's do a Lowri Morgan. Let's get out to 5 a.m. I'm not great in the morning. I've done it and I feel great. And just to have that, I'm like, do you know what? Yeah, I'm not naturally wanting to put stuff on Instagram. Yeah. But when you get a feedback like that, you're like, do you know what? It's worth it. And I also feel more empowered now to do it at 50 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people my age think, oh, I can't run the times that I did before. People keep asking me, are you still going to be, what can you do when you're not running? Well, just move the goalposts. For 3 years, I tried cycling, ultra endurance events. I'm a rubbish cyclist, but I knew that I loved the adventure, and I loved that self-sufficient aspect of races. And it doesn't matter if you're quick. It's about how you are with your personal admin and how you are with your sleep patterns and things like that. So, sometimes it's all about just maybe changing the goalposts a little, and just embracing that we are getting older. Let's see but we're getting wiser. I'm training better now. I'm recovering better. I'm more aware of myself. I think I've got through perimenopause, and I'm beginning to find myself again. Just little things like that I'm really excited about, and it's a new chapter. So that's why I'm more motivated, if anything, to do a bit more on social media, just to get that message across.
Yes. Yeah.
I might be boring, but I'm repetitive.
I loved it. When I saw your little reels, your little videos of your 5:30 a.m, I was like, well, A, that's brilliant, because last time I saw Lowri, she was saying that she couldn't run anymore, and B, how amazing is that she's getting out at 5:30 a.m. I just think it's really inspiring. So yeah, keep doing it just funny.
For me. I've just been on a weekend with Fee Pascal and her husband Matt, so trail retreats, and it's been amazing.
Yeah.
And I was there with a couple of amazing people. The power of running is incredible. I didn't know anybody except for one person. Within an hour, I felt that I knew everybody really well, and we were just all laughing and joking about stuff. And a lot of them were brilliant with their phones, taking videos and things. And it was a running joke, excuse the pun, but when we were going everywhere, I was like, oh, I forgot my phone. Oh, my phone. Oh, I should be taking a photo of this. Oh no, where's my phone? So I kept saying to all these wonderful people, do you mind if I borrow your videos? And I will credit you, but so I need to take a leaf out of them, really.
Yeah, I think for those of us that didn't grow up with social media, it can be a bind. Like, it takes a long time to make a really decent reel, doesn't it? Like,
I know, and I'm rubbish. I was really proud of myself. No, I took a video. I went around Cardiff not long ago, and I took a video, and I thought, oh, this is a good idea. I'll make a video, a reel of me running around Cardiff showing the highlights of the route.
Yeah.
And I put it together and I looked at it and I thought, oh my God, I feel sick watching it.
Yeah.
It was like all over the place. And I was like, oh, I can't put this out.
Oh, and I bet it took you just as long to like put that video together as it did maybe to do the run. It's like, if you're actually going to like be a mum, eat some food, plan for a race, do a job and train, how do you have time to also put it on Instagram? Yeah,
I know.
It's just,
I know.
Yeah, you can't do it all.
I'm with you there, Claire, totally 100%.
Yeah, and we must learn some Welsh because obviously you're fluent in Welsh, obviously coming from Wales itself. And I was listening to the last time that I interviewed you, which people can watch. I'll pop it up here, but also I will also put that. I'll put a link to in the film description to the last time I chatted to Lowri if you want even more tips about doing the Dragon's Back. I remember you saying crib goch, which you pronounce differently to me.
Crib goch.
Crib goch.
Yeah.
Means the red comb. And
well, yes, yeah. and also it's because of the rock there forms and it kind of looks red,
yeah,
and
kind of
the crib it's a comb, but it's also like the summit, like a scraggy summit type thing.
Yes. Yeah, so that's crib goch. I need to remember how to pronounce that when I do it. Crib goch. Yeah. How do I even write that down?
Yeah.
Goch.
Okay. Yeah. That. Good luck.
I love it. And then Cadair Idris is the giant Idris's chair as well in Welsh folklore. Yeah.
And then we've got the when. I love it that people are trying. You've got the rhinogydd. They're not the rhinogs. Rhinogydd is the plural. So rhinog fawr, rhinog fach, which is big rhinog, little rhinog. And then the plural is rhinogydd.
Rhinogydd.
Is. Then you've got the moelwynion. Moelwynion, which is so some people say moelwyns, but it's the moelwynion.
Moelwynion.
Then you've got the carneddau. Also, you've got carnedd is one mountain would be carnedd ifan or whatever. But carneddau is the plural.
Yep, carneddau.
There's a rhinogydd, moelwynion, carneddau. You've got the Banau Brycheiniog, of course.
Urwyddfa?
Yr Wyddfa.
Yeah, I noticed that, like, I've been told to pronounce it Urwyddfa as a W in there, but when I heard you say it on the commentary, you said Urwyddfa.
Yeah, that might be the fact that I'm from South Wales.
Yeah, that's what my friend said, and he's from North Wales, and he said, "Oh, don't worry about that. It's just her Welsh accent."
Yeah, it is, because when this is I'm sure it's the same in English, but like oi is also egg, and in South Wales we say we, and then in North Wales they say oi.
Oh, okay.
So it's even though they spelt the same. So I say oiva. While in North Wales they say we not weaver, but rwyfa, I would say.
Yeah. I'll have
and then eryri, elan, Comelan is Elan Valley. Cum is the a valley.
Cum Elan. Yeah. And I thought I probably need to learn some sort of like gesturing things where I'm pointing things out on the video. So I was just wondering what's let's go.
Well, that would be dani.
Dani. That's nice and easy to say.
Yeah, I think a few people have heard that on the Dragon's Back videos. Dani is just go for it. Let's go. Yeah,
Dani,
go for
like
it.
On y fa sort of thing. Like,
exactly. That's a better translation. On y fa.
Yeah. Okay, on y fa.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was wanting there.
Yeah.
Like, on y fa. Maybe I'll make it in French as well as Welsh.
Yeah.
Why not?
There's a lot of similarities between the Welsh and French.
Oh, is there? Oh, I love French.
Yeah,
so that's great.
Well, in French, because I'm quarter French, so I speak French as well.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
I would say fenêtre for window. In Welsh is fenest.
Ah, brilliant.
Pont, le pont.
A bridge.
Is pont.
Yeah.
Pont.
Yes,
So you've got
it
lots
is.
of similarities. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, that makes it like just double as
Easier.
easy instantly. Excellent. And what is a beautiful view? Because I want to go, oh, look, it's a beautiful view.
Right. Golygfa. Golygfa.
Golygfa.
Golygfa. Bendigedig.
Bendigedig.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you could say golygfa godidog.
Gilig. Bendigilig.
Bendy.
Gil.
Gedig.
Oh, gerdig.
Yeah. Bendigedig.
The hardest thing about this is writing it down, and then the blimmin' autocorrect comes, and it's like, no, that's not what I was trying to say.
Golygfa lovely.
Golygfa lovely.
Yeah, I tell you what,
Golygfa
we are
lovely.
very good at speaking Wenglish.
Wenglish.
Which is half Welsh and half English. So yeah, golygfa lovely.
Oh, I love that.
Just say it with a Welsh accent.
Golygfa lovely.
Yeah, golygfa lovely.
Awesome. And what steep climb? Like, oh, this is a steep climb.
Dringfa. Serth.
Oh, serth. Serth.
That's it.
Serth. Dringfa. Serth.
Serth.
And is that just a steep climb?
Yeah. So it's a climb steep.
Climb
Dringfa
steep.
is the climb.
Uh-huh.
Dringo is climbing.
Yeah.
Dringfa is a climb.
Uh-huh.
Serth is steep.
Serth is steep.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It starts with the same letter. Steep.
And it's the same with golygfa lovely. Golygfa is view. Lovely.
Lovely. Oh, I see. Yeah, golygfa lovely. And then I'm tired. Is that weni blino?
Wedi blino.
Weni blino.
Wedi blino.
Excellent.
You could even add in that.
Yeah.
I was just saying, wedi blino laan.
Bwedi.
Linon. Laan.
Linon.
Laan. Yeah. So that is kind of it's an idiom basically, a Welsh idiom. Yeah.
Oh, what does it mean?
Totally tired.
Oh, okay. Totally knackered sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Wedi blino laan, as in, yeah, totally tired.
Knackered, okay. Bwedi blino laan.
Yeah, perfect. You've got it, Claire.
Diolch.
You're now an adopted Welsh person.
Yay! Yes,
Yay.
Excellent. Oh,
welcome to the club.
Thank you. Well, you offer coaching, don't you? So
I do, yes.
What about Welsh lessons? Do you offer Welsh lessons to people?
Do you know what? I used to do it when I was in university as a job, as a summer job. So I used to go around teaching Welsh to youngsters and doing sport at the same time. So teaching Welsh through sport.
Nice.
We had so much fun. And yes, I did do a bit of that through a system where you're taught Welsh very quickly. It's based on a repetitive system. So yeah, it was good fun actually. We came across some fantastic characters.
Cool. So someone could book you for coaching for the Dragon's Back race, and you could give them a little Welsh introduction as well.
Yeah. And they can be fluent by the time they finish the race.
Exactly. Yeah. They should offer that as a package, like
as a package,
do you want to do your Dragon's Back in Welsh or English?
Or in English. Yeah. I do coach a lot of people through the medium of Welsh, and it is quite funny because when I try to do everything as bespoke as possible. So when I write the notes and things for them, it's like Wenglish.
Yeah.
It's all a bit of Welsh, bit of English, all mixed up. And I love coaching. I really do enjoy it. I was out with somebody who's doing the Epona 100, and now he was doing a recce, and with him, and it's such a great feeling seeing a runner develop, not just physically but also confidence-wise,
Yeah.
And I really get a nice little kick out of it, literally,
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Really, really good. I suppose we should say the Dragon's Back race in Welsh, which I believe is Ras Cefn y Draigg.
Yeah, Ras Cefn y Draigg. Yes.
Ras Cefn y
So
Draigg.
Ras is race.
Yeah.
Cefn is back. Is the. Draigg. Draigg is the dragon. So, yeah, Draigg. Yeah. Draigg.
Draigg.
Yeah.
Not E. But is it the letter Y?
It's a letter Y, yes.
That's why I thought it was E, because in French that's E, isn't it? So I've just gone
yes,
you're
French. Right. No, it's
Okay.
Yeah.
Draigg. Ras Cefn y Draigg. Ras Cefn y Draigg. Okay.
Yeah, gosh, you're really good.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, your pronunciation is really good.
Oh, cool. I love listening to it. Ras Cefn y Draigg. Okay. Yeah. So Tadeusz says, the joys of languages with a common Proto-Indo-European ancestor. Oh, very technical there, Tadeusz. Tadeusz is from Ireland, so right, maybe he knows some Gaelic, who knows?
Yeah, the Gaelic is slightly different again, and because if I drive along the Welsh coast, you pick up the radio stations, and I often try to tune in to the language, and I can't pick it up, unfortunately. You sometimes expect to hear a word. Mm-hmm. But I've got loads of Irish friends. I did a 2,000-mile bike race non-stop 2 years ago now on the bike, and went around Ireland, and it was incredible. I don't know Ireland, but that we had some amazing. We did it in 10 days. I think we slept. My GPS was saying that I slept on average 2 hours a night for those 10 days. So I don't make a lot of sense.
That makes me yawn just thinking about it.
But I absolutely loved the people there, and I had a puncture and I just could not repair it. And the locals were just amazing, helping me, getting me another tyre and stuff like that. Aww. So hello to your Irish listeners.
Yeah, lovely. I'm sure Tadeusz will really like that. But I think we've run out of time. I don't want to take up too much of your time, Lowri.
Oh, it's fine.
It's just been so lovely to chat with you again today, and I really appreciate your time here. And I really hope that this episode does inspire lots of trail and ultra runners to do the Dragon's Back, or do the hatchling, or do it over separate weekends, or just do it in some shape or form, and really enjoy those Welsh landscapes and the beautiful language. It's going to be Hwyl fawr. From me, which is goodbye, or dabo, or dabochi. Dabochi.
That's brilliant. Dabo is something I would say. That's colloquial. But can I also add to that? Poblwch, Claire.
Poblwch.
Good luck.
Is that good luck?
Good luck on your adventure. And please, rho alwad I fi. Give me a ring when you're doing the adventure, because I'd love to join you.
Diolch.
Yeah, and I could talk you through all the mythical stories that come from different parts of Wales.
Yeah, that would be amazing, and I wish I could say all that in Welsh as well. Maybe I will. After a day of running with you, I'll be fluent.
You'll be fluent. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Which day would you prefer to come on, or should I just let you know the dates of each one as I do them, just in case you can come?
Just let me know. I've got a camper van. I can, and do you know what? Yeah, I know. I should have had it years sooner, but it's been for me the best thing, especially with work as well, because it's because of what I do as well. It's been perfect, but also as a runner, it's my little baby. So yeah, you name the day and the location, and I'll be there.
Yeah, if you can make it, that would be amazing. I would absolutely love to run with you, and yeah, that would be brilliant. And good luck yourself. I can't remember, Poblwch, yes. Poblwch yourself for the 100k. Wishing you all the best of luck for that, because that is a really, really difficult race. But I'm sure that you'll have a fantastic time.
Oh, thank you, Claire. And hopefully catch up soon.
Yeah, awesome. Dabo, everyone.
Dabo.